Hello. I hope everybody's doing all right today. I'm hanging in there. So let's see. As far as what we're doing today, we're going to do something really fun today. And it might take a few videos to get through it, but it's something I have been wanting to do forever. And I mean like forever. Hang on a second. I'm going to close my door here. Okay. So the story behind this project today is when I was younger, we went on a field trip. It was one of the local areas. It was like I can't remember, like Buffalo Bills or something crazy like that. And there was a little souvenir shop, and we all went in and were able to buy ourselves something, you know, something fun. And they had the cutest little beaded dolls, and they were like little beaded doll necklaces. And I bought myself one. I bought the little girl, and because there's a boy and a girl. And I don't know what happened to it. It got lost somewhere along my life. And I love that thing. It was so cool, and I've always wondered how it was done. I finally found a pattern for it, which the patterns are really hard to find for them because they're considered vintage. They're considered old, and I don't think many people even really make them anymore. So the last day and a half or so, I have been teaching myself how to make these cute little guys. This is the first one I've made, and he's really kind of wonky in one leg because it's hard to figure out. They're not easy to make, but this is him right here. And just a little Indian guy. He's got a little Indian feathers on the back here. Dangle down. And he has tiny little arms and legs, and his one leg I think I made a little too short. I didn't make it long enough, but it's all trial and error. But I absolutely love this little fella. He's so cute. And what you can do is you can also add like a little place to add to make it a pendant, and you can make a cute little necklace out of them. And these are quite rare and quite hard to find. So I am going to show you all how to make one today. I messed up. See, if you look on the back of him here, you see that little black stripe on his back, and then there's a black stripe on the front. That was actually supposed to be his braids coming down, and I didn't align it properly. But I figured out, I think I got interrupted, and I just like went off a step or two. And his body is made with the odd count Peyote tubular stitch. And the rest is just kind of, you know, this is almost like a fringe. His arms are almost like a little fringe. And his hat, or headdress, I should say, it's a little way more complicated. And I think I did pretty good with it considering first time. So I'm going to go through with what you're going to need, and we're going to go through and make this cute little fella. Now, as far as the legs go, I went with the hard part because, you know, I like to do things that are challenging, I guess. But you also can continue the tubular stitch down and just use the coloring. Like you can use blue and then like black to kind of signify his legs. I like that he has two little legs better. So I will go through that. I don't know if we're going to get to his legs this video. What we're going to start with is going to be from his belt and up to the top of his head. We're not going to do the headdress today, but just the belt and the top to his head. And we'll see how far we can get. It's going to take a little bit of time, and it, you know, it's not easy to make. So I would recommend this for more intermediate stitchers or beaters because they are quite complicated. And there is a little girl, a little lady one. She's got a little dress and a little hat. I haven't made her yet, but when I make her, we will do a video on her. Her body is the basic same from the waist up. So that's one cool thing, is they're the same face and everything. So it's not any different on that part. So we're going to make this little fella today, or start making him, I should say, because I don't know how far we can get going on him. And I will bring you guys down, and we can go through what we're going to need for supplies. typically, you know, your typical supplies. You're going to need size 0 nymo. You're going to need some beeswax, some kind of scissors to cut everything, all your strings and things. And you're going to need some size 11 seed beads and a beading needle, probably a size 11. Works good. I've been actually using, for this one, I've been actually using my little sharp. I don't even think you can see that, but my little sharp, and that's working just fine. So I'm going to bring you down and we will get her going. Okay, so as far as our beads go, we're going to need a black, and these are all size 11. So we're going to need black. Pour them out as I tell you. And we're going to need a white. And we're going to need an orange. Now the orange, you could do like a pink or anything, but that's just for the flesh color there. So anything in those color ranges you want to do. The one I always had when I was younger was orange for the flesh. So I thought that was cute, and I'm going to keep it that way. And we're also going to need a red and a dark blue. Now, I don't know if we're going to get to the dark blue today, but I do have dark blue. But I use my bead soup for my red. That's where it's at. Dump some of that out. Alrighty. Now, for your thread, I do a wingspan. So, let me see if I can find my beginning here. Somewhere. I know it's here somewhere. There it is. So from one hand to the other, spread your wings. Spread your arms out wide. And that's the length that you're going to need. As far as I know. As far as I remember. I've only done this once, mind you. It's not something I've done more than once. I did start another body just because I wanted to see where I went wrong with his, because this is supposed to be, that black's supposed to be down on the other side of the face, so it looks like his little pigtails coming down, his little braids. And we'll get waxed up here. And now we're going to start doing our odd peyote count, our odd peyote tubular stitch. And some people are kind of scared off by it, but once you get going, it's a real simple, easy stitch. And you can do so much with it too. Let's get our needle on our thread here. I always love these little dolls, and I'm so happy I finally found a pattern and figured out how to do it. I mean, I am just super excited about that. Now, don't tie any knots. Leave your thread the way it is. All right, and that's that. So you got all threaded up. We're all ready to go. Now, okay, so my camera just closed on me. So we got threaded up. We're ready to go. Now, how we start with this is we're going to want to pick up 11 red beads. 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. You just want to bring those on down. Bring them down your thread. And then when you get down to it, you want to leave yourself a tail at least 6 inches. I'm going to double check, make sure I didn't drop any there. 2, 4. All right, we're all in there. See, now you want to leave a little tail and then just tie it into a knot here, and your beads will come together into a circle, just like so. And I do a double knot just so it holds. You don't want it falling apart on you. Just like that. And that's our first part. Simple, easy peasy. Now we got our tail over here and our threads here. So I'm going to count the thread or the bead to the right of the thread as bead 1, okay? So what you want to do, we're going to go on a pattern here, and so it's going to be different for each row. It's not going to be red, blue, red, or whatever, you know. We're going to keep it kind of easy. These first 5 rows are pretty similar. So our next row, we're going to add 6 white beads. So you want to pick one up at a time. So we got 1 white bead on there. And remember, this is bead 1, okay, for our 11 beads here. The one bead to the right there of the thread, that's going to be bead 1. So what you're going to want to do is you want to, and you can kind of count your beads, and it makes it pretty simple this way if we kind of count them. But so bead 1, and then enter into bead 2, like that. So skip bead number 1, enter into bead number 2. And just pull it through. And try not to get tangled like I'm getting. You know, I don't tangle that badly until I film. It's just, that's the way things have to go, right? That's the way things have to be. Oh, what is the deal? What is the dealio? Oh, I see. Our tails being a pain in the bum. That's what it is. There we go. All right, so we skipped bead 1, and we went into bead 2. Now, don't worry, it's going to... Okay, hang on. I am just a mess over here. What is going on? Pull that tail up a little. Okay, so we went into bead 2. We skipped bead 1, went into bead 2. Like so. Skip bead 1, go into bead 2, right? And it's going to look a little wonky your first row or two, but don't worry about it. That's just the way it starts. And so now we pick up another white bead. We're going to want to put on 6 white beads on this row. So we skipped bead 1, went through bead 2. See that? This is bead 2 here. Skip bead 3 and go into bead 4. Let me double check myself that I can see right here. 1. So a good way to know which one is bead 1 is the one where your tail's coming out of. Whichever one your tail's coming out of, bead 1's going to be the right of that. So that's 1, 2, 3, and go into bead 4. Just like so. And pull it through. There we go. Then we're going to want to pick up another white bead. We've skipped bead 2, or we've gone through bead 2 and bead 4, and this time we're going to go through bead number 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. A good way to know which bead to go through when you're starting on this is if you can tell, see where your thread's coming out after you put that one on, skip the bead next to that, and then put your bead in. That's a great way of knowing where to put your bead, where to go through. So we've gone into bead 2, 4, and 6. Now we're going to pick up a white bead and go through bead 8. So see, our thread's coming out of that bead there. We need, oh, I don't think hang on, I didn't pick one up. Our thread's coming out of this bead right here. So we need to skip that bead and go into the bead next to it. So whatever bead your thread's coming out of, skip the one next to that, and then enter into the bead next to the one you skipped. And we pick up another white, like so. Our thread's coming out of this red bead right here. So we're going to skip the bead next to that, and we're going to enter into the one next to the one we skipped. So it's skip a bead, add a bead, skip a bead, add a bead. So now we have 5 white beads on there. And you're thinking, well, I got this weird awkward spot where there's only 2 beads. What do I do there? Well, that's why odd count peyotes a little odd. What you're going to want to do is you pick up a bead, and this is when you would, basically it's what they call a step up. And so we're going to step up, and how we do that, we're going to step up by putting our needle through the first white bead we put on. And that's our step up into our third row, basically. And so stick that last white bead in there. Now that's not considered starting a new row. That was just finishing the last row and creating that step up so we could start our third row. And see, now you're going to kind of notice your beads are going to kind of come up a little bit. That's fine. That's what we want. Now you don't have to pull all taut and everything like that. This next row we do, that'll kind of even everything out and make sure that things start going vertically. So for our second row, we're going to do, and this is what I like to do as I do the pattern, a white bead, a black bead, a white bead, a black bead, and a white. And I like to lay this out when I'm doing a pattern this detailed, because that way I know what beads I've put down and I've laid, because it's easy to get confused with peyote stitch, like, oh, did I put that many down, especially if some are the same color. So I kind of like to lay them out, and that way I know, okay, I've laid them all out, or I didn't skip one, or I didn't miss one, or I didn't add too many. I think that's what I did on him. That's why his little braids are down under his chin. So now we're going to pick up the white bead, and we're going to see the beads, they kind of stick out. Peyote's great like that. The beads will tell you where you're going to put your beads, and the beads are sticking out. All those white beads you just put, those are the beads you're going to go through to put your third row on. So we're picking up a white bead, and we're going to stick it through that white bead just sticking out. And then we're going to, whoops, drop my work here. Then we're going to pick up a black bead and stick it in that next white bead sticking out. It's a really simple thing. It's just so easy to get going once you get those first two rows. Then we're going to pick up another white bead, stick it through the third white bead on that second row. And so you can kind of see how it's starting to kind of layer up and starting to go upwards. That's exactly what we want. Black bead, pick up a black bead and stick it in that white one. Now if you have to fish for your bead to go into, you're going in the wrong bead. So peyote kind of sets you up for where you're going to go with things. So that's what's nice about it. And then we're going to pick up our last white bead, and we're going to stick it in that first white bead right there. Right there. And pull through. Here we go. We got our first 3 rows. And it looks a little wonky now. Give it time. It'll build up nice. You can kind of give it a nice, decent tug, and that'll kind of hold it tight. Now our next row, row number 3, we're going to do all white beads. So this time it's going to be a pattern of 6 beads, 5 beads, 6 beads, 5 beads, 6 beads. So our next row, our third row now, is going to be 6 white beads. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to lay those over here so we know these are our beads we have to lay down. And that way we don't miss any or add any extras. So I like to kind of hold the tail, not too bad, because then it'll kind of warp the first row. Pick up a white bead, and see your threads coming out of there. Skip that bead that's kind of sitting lower. Maybe it's kind of sitting a little bit lower, and we're going to go into this bead right here. And you can tell because those beads that you're supposed to go through are going to kind of stick up and out. See, there's that bead there that we just went through. Skip a bead, go through a bead. Another white bead. And then our thread's coming out of the black bead there. Skip a bead, go through a bead. Like so. And kind of hard to hold on to, but do your best. There'll be more grip of them on him here in a little bit. Add another white bead. Our bead's coming out of that white one. I'm going to skip a bead and go through that black bead. Just like so. And again, pick up a white bead. Our thread's coming out of that black bead. Skip a white bead. Go through that other white bead next to it. And our last white bead for this row. I'm going to pick up a white bead. Our thread is coming out of this bead here. And skip a bead and go in the higher bead next to it. It's kind of a higher and a lower to peyote stitch. You'll notice that as you start stitching it, where some beads lay lower and some lay higher. And you always want to go through those higher beads. All right, so that's our third row, or well, fourth row. And so for our next one, we're going to do 5 beads, and we're going to want to do a white and a black. I'm just setting these aside. Don't thread all these at once. I'm just setting them aside. Like I said, this helps you keep track of the beads that you've beaded so you don't lose track. So a white, a black, a white, a black, and another white are our next 5 beads. So we're going to pick up that first white bead, pick him up, and our thread's coming out of this bead right here. So skip that lower bead, go through the higher bead. And that's all peyote is. It's so easy peasy. Once you learn it, it's super easy. Tubular is really easy. Tubular peyote is really fun thing to do, actually. I need to kind of add a little tug on mine. Tighten it up a little. Okay. Pardon me. Pick up a black bead. Coming out of that white bead, skip the black bead. I'm kind of looking a little wonky there. And go through this white bead here. I can get her in there. There we go. And that black bead will line right up with that bottom black bead underneath it. Pick up a white bead, skip a bead, go through a bead. Pick up the black, skip the black bead, go through the white bead. And our last white here, thread's coming out of that white one, skip white one, go through that white one. And there we have our 5th row. 4th row if you don't count the base row. I usually don't, so I'm going to call it our 4th row. Whoops. That tangled on me there. Now see, we're kind of getting a nice little tube going on with him here. It's looking pretty good. Now, for our next row, we're going to add 6 beads because our last one we added 5. And we're going to need 6 white beads for our next row. So we'll count them out and have them set aside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we go pick up a white bead, skip a bead, add a bead. Pick up a white bead, skip a bead, add a bead. Pick up a white bead, skip a bead, add a bead. Try not to drop your work like I am, or about to. Pick up a white bead, skip a bead, add a bead. Pick another white one up, skip a bead, go through the next one. Maybe I can get through it there. And one more white bead to add to it here. So pick up the last white bead, skip a bead, and add a bead. Like so. Looking good. Looking good. All right, now we've basically finished. That's kind of the tummy area. That's kind of his little chest and belly area there. So now we're going to move on and we're going to start working on his facial features here. Kind of his face going. So we're going to add in, incorporate a few different colors in here. So it's not just going to be white and black. So for row number 6, we're going to do 5 beads again. And this time we need a white bead and a black bead. So we need a white and a black. Whoop, that one jumped away. There we go. And a black bead. And then we're going to start incorporating the face. So we need an orange or pink or whatever color you've chosen for your face. And then we're going to need a black one again. And a white one. And then just going to keep working our way around here. So pick up a white bead. Thread's going through there. Skip that lower bead. Go through the top higher bead, the second higher bead next to it. A black bead. Skip that black bead and go through the higher white bead next to it. Pick up an orange bead. Skip that lower bead. Stick your needle through the higher bead. Pick up a black bead. Skip that other black bead. Put your needle through the upper white bead. Pick up a white bead. Skip that lower white bead and put your needle through that upper white bead. And there's that row there. Goes pretty quick, doesn't it? This is actually the easy part of this little fella. Okay, so our next row, row 7, we're going to need a white bead, a black bead, 2 orange, and then a black and a white. And you'll be able to tell if you're off track as you go, because you're not going to have, see how you can see how those black ones are all lined up together. If you're off track, that's not going to be happening. So try and keep an eye on that, because that's the mistake I made on this little guy. You can see his braids are hanging down from his chin, and then his other braids on the back of his shirt. So you want to make sure you're lined up good. I don't know how I got his face to line up right, but I don't know what I did with those braids. I must have just went off somewhere. So pick up a white bead, skip a bead, go through the upper bead. Whoop. What's going on here? Ah! I'm kind of tangly today. I don't know what my deal is. It's that tail is what it is. Okay, try that again. There. That's what happens when I don't hold on to my lower tail, as it gets tangled up with everything. Okay, now pick up a black bead, skip that lower white bead, go through the black bead next to it. Pick up an orange bead, skip that lower white bead, and stick it through the upper orange bead. Pick up an orange bead, skip that lower white bead, and go through that upper black bead. I kind of like to give him a little tug here and there too. I don't want to tug too hard though, it'll set off everything. And then you're going to want to pick up a black bead, skip that lower white bead, go through that upper white bead. You always want to work in the same direction. And I'm right-handed, so if you're left-handed, it might be a little different for you if you want to go left-handed with it. Now, that's right. Now, put on a white bead, skip that lower white bead, go through the upper white bead. Just like so. There we have our 7th row. Now this has 16 rows to it, just on the body. So he's kind of a detailed little guy, but totally worth the work if you can get it. He's so adorable. I absolutely love it. Now, get a drink here. Now we're going to be on row 8. It's going to be row 5. So we want a black bead, an orange bead, and now we're going to incorporate our red. So we want a red bead, and then we want another orange bead, and a black bead, just like so. And we're gonna pick our work back up here. So pick up a black bead, maybe. Skip that lower white bead where your thread's coming out, and go through that upper black bead. Whoop. Pick up an orange bead, skip the lower black bead, go through the upper orange bead. Pick up a red bead, it's going to be his little mouth here. Skip that lower orange bead and go through that last higher up bead there. Pick up an orange bead, skip the black bead, go through the higher black bead, and pick up a black bead, skip the lower white bead, and go through the upper white bead. And that is row number 8. For row number 9, there's going to be 6 beads again, and we're going to need 2 black beads. We're going to need 2 black beads, 2 orange beads, and 2 black beads. So, pick our work up again. Now, we are going to pick up a black bead, skip that lower white bead, and stick our needle through that upper black bead next to it, just like that. And that's about all this is. We'll put on a black bead, put on an orange bead, put on another orange bead, put on a black bead, and put on another black bead. Okay, there's that row. You can see his face kind of coming into play here. Coming together, isn't he? Okay, now for row 10, we're going to do 5 beads again, and we're going to need a black bead and 3 orange beads, 2 and 3. I thought I had more orange in this pile, but I guess, oh, I have orange right here. Silly me, silly goose. I can use those if I need. And a black bead. So a black bead, 3 orange beads, and another black bead. And put on a black bead. Go through that black bead there. Put on an orange bead. Another orange bead. Another orange bead. And a black bead. Like so. See his whole face coming alive here. It's great. Now, we're on our last handful. We only got about 6 rows left for the body here. Now, it kind of goes pretty easy after this because we're going to be doing his hair and stuff, so that's pretty simple. I think it's all pretty much black. And you could do brown or yellow or I mean, whatever color hair you'd want, but since he's a little native guy, we want to make him a little more authentic, and we're going to make him with black hair. So we need 6 beads for our next row, and so we're going to need 6 black beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're just going to put those on real quick. Do black bead. Where am I coming out of here? There it is. You know, I think a couple of these black ones are his eyes also. Or did we? Yeah, we're going to be doing the eyes here in a second. So you could always do different colored eyes. You could do green or blue or brown. Red might look a little creepy, but I mean, any colored eyes you want, you could put any colored eyes. You could do any colored outfit. Even the shirt you could do, instead of white, you could do a different color. It's all up to you, but this is just the basic. I think this is just the standard Souvenir doll. This is what they all kind of looked like, I think. I can't remember. I think the colors on my little girl were red and white. So I think it was kind of just a standard color for him. But I debated on doing him in turquoise and things, but I figured, you know, I'll do it in the red and white and kind of do it traditionally. But there's no limit on what kind of, who says what colors you can use. You can use any color you want. And see, now you can tell when you look at it, his braids were all messed up. And then they're going, I thought they kind of looked like buttons. I thought that's what it was at first. And I'm like, wait a second, that's not right. So my cat wanted to play with me all the time yesterday, and I think she kind of interrupted me, and it set me off, and I missed count somewhere. So now he's looking a little better. He's got his little, you can see that it's the back of his head. You can see his little braids hanging down the sides, which is just absolutely adorable. Okay. Now, for row 12, we're going to do 5 beads, and we're going to need a black, and we're going to need 3 oranges. Guess we'll use the rest of the oranges up in this pile, huh? And another black. So, a black, 3 orange, and a black. Put those on real quick. My pad always runs away from me. I need to get like a little stopper pad or something like to put under it. Something with a grip or something to it. Uh-oh. What'd I do? That tail, he just keeps getting me today, doesn't he? Really? Really though? Hang on. Let me get untangled. Okay, there we go. This tail on this keeps getting all up in the way. Okay, so we put our black one on there. Now we're going to start doing the orange. So we need to do 3 orange. So I'm here, put an orange on here. And another orange. And another orange. I was intimidated so much by that peyote stitch for years. And I don't know why now. I'm just sitting here and thinking, what the heck? Why was I so intimidated by that? I have no idea. Wait, I think I messed up somewhere. Pretty sure that orange ain't supposed to be there. Oh, I see what I did. Hang on, I've got to fix this. Okay, I had a extra black over here. It wasn't supposed to be there. And I had it over here by the side of his face. And that's supposed to be an orange. I think that tangle screwed me up. It's easy to miscount. That's why I like to lay my beads out. And it's kind of easy. You can keep an eye on it because it's a pattern. You know, the pattern kind of lets you know, whoa, something ain't right, you know. So, good to keep an eye on your pattern as you go. I do believe that's right. So if I do a black and a black, yeah, okay. I think we figured out I had an extra bead or something. Okay, so now our next row, did we do 3 orange on there? Yes, we did. So we had a black, 3 orange, and a black. So our next row is going to be 2 black, 2 orange, and 2 black. That should line up right. Just keep an eye out. I hope I didn't mess up. I might have been off count or something. 2 black, 2 orange. Come out orange in the pile. Nope, we got a couple in here, so I'll use them up. I put those out just in case I would need them, because I knew there wasn't a whole lot of orange in this pile. It's kind of a wimpy looking bead. I'll use this nice one here. And then 2 black. Alrighty, so black. So, the black. About done with our rows here. Black. There we go. Those are 2 blacks. Now we need 2 orange. So orange. Gotta finish his face off. Another orange. Black. Oh, I got a little. Yep, my tail kind of try and come in again. And another black. Okay, that is that one. And then, let's see here, our next row, we're going to need 2 black, an orange, and a black. And that's going to be the last of the face beads there for his face. So 2 black, an orange, and 2 black. I don't know who came up with this little fella, but these are the cutest things ever. I just love them. Okay, I'll probably make a ton of them. Once I find something I like, that's the way I am. I just make them. Another black. The orange for this part of his forehead here. That. Another black. And our last black one. There we go. Look at that come together. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Absolutely perfect. I love it. Now we only got 2 rows left. So we want to do all blacks for those. So we're going to need 6 blacks. I still like to put them over here so I know I'm on track for my blacks are kind of wimpy looking beads here. Real tiny. Then 2, 4, 6. So we need to put on 6 black beads. So here's 1. And 2. And 3. And 4. And 5. And 6. Like so. All right. And our last row, we're going to do, you probably guessed it, 5 black beads. So we need 5 black beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And put those on real quick, and then I'll show you how to seal up the top of his head. 1, 2, oh, twist in the bead there. What's going on there? Sometimes beads do that where they twist in on themselves. You know what? I think, yep, I got in between the thread. I gotta take that off of there. There. Poke my finger. That kind of hurt. There we go. Sometimes you don't realize you do it and you kind of split the thread with the needle. 1, 2, 3. Where'd my, thought I had one. Oh, it's still on there. Okay, I was going to say, I thought I had one on there. There we go. I was wondering what was going on there. Okay, 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now that's our last of our body parts there, or body beads for now. We're going to add a few more rows when we go to do his little legs. Now, what we have to do is we got to seal up the top of his head. Okay, so I totally screwed that up, and I'm going to do this right for you this time. Now, at the top of his little head there, first of all, put 2, you're going to need 5 black beads, but put 2 black beads on your needle. Now, you see on the top of his head, you see that circle there? You want to see where your thread is coming out of? Thread's coming out right there. You want to count over 1, 2, 3, 4 beads. And it's going to be that one sticking up kind of underneath his right eye. You want to stick your needle through there. Just like that. Okay? And then you're going to want to pick up another bead. And where your thread's coming out here, see your thread's coming out right here. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to skip one and go into the one, I believe it's the one next to it. Let me double check here. Yes. So the one that you came out of here, this upper bead that you kind of came out of, where your thread's coming out of, there's a lower bead and an upper bead. You want to pick a bead up and stick your needle through that upper bead. That's the one right in the center of his head there. So stick your needle through that, like so. You kind of give him a little tug. And then, so now your thread is coming out of that one there. So, what you want to do, pick up those last two black beads you got. And so your thread's coming out, remember, at the center of his head there. What you want to do is you count over these upper beads here. There's 1, and then there's 2. And that kind of takes you back to the back of his head. Well, stick your needle through that back one there, the second upper bead that you counted. Just kind of give it a little tug. So you kind of got a little bit of a head cover going on there. Now, you're going to want to weave kind of in and out to get that all to kind of stick together. So you put these 2 beads down. Here, remember those first 2 beads you put down to cover his head? You want to stick your needle through that very first one of those beads. Just like that. Okay? And then you want to take your needle, after you go through that one, you want to go up. Remember the last 2 that you laid? There were 2 here that you laid down. You want to go through the second one that you laid of that. Not the one towards the back, the one towards the front. Go through the one towards the front, like that. This part can be a little tricky and confusing. And then, after you've done that, you want to go, remember that just single bead that you laid? If you can find him. There he is, he's right here. That single bead you laid, you're going to want to go through him, like so. Now this is just kind of, it's kind of like a figure 8, kind of sealing him up. I hope that's clear enough for you. This is kind of a tricky part. You want to, of course, make sure it's getting tight as you're doing it. Then after you've gone through him, you're going to want to go back through that bead on this side. There were 2 of them, remember? You just went through that one recently. Real recently. You're going to want to, you can tell which one's been gone through twice, but you want to go through that one now. So you go through the last one, the one closer to the back. Like so. I don't know if I went in the right direction of the bead though, that's the only issue. No, I did not. I went the wrong direction. Okay, so we got him. Okay, so we have that one single bead that we did. Like that. I missed a step. That's my bad. The 2 over here. Remember the 2 over here that you laid? That first one towards the front, we need to go through that one first. That's my mistake. I missed one. Okay, and then after you've done that, you go back down through these and behind on the actual peyote roll that makes up his head. So through the one next door to him, like so. And then that's pretty much going to seal him shut. And if you can maneuver around and figure out the best way, I would say that 5 beads probably covers his head the best. But that gives him a little top of his head and it's covered up. He's not an open hole anymore. But any way that you can figure out to maneuver it around to seal him up, the better. Because you don't want him to have an open head. That would just look a little weird. And yeah, even with his headdress on, you can't really see it, but he looks more like a dolly when he has a head. So, next thing you're going to want to do, we're going to want to work our way down with our thread back down to the red row, which I call the belt. So, because it looks like his belt. So you want to work your needle back down to this bottom belt line. And just kind of go in and out, weave in and out, kind of reinforce everything too. I like to do it more in the back because less people are going to see the back as they do the front. And just try and get our needle down there so we can work on his legs. It doesn't really matter where you're going, like what direction or whatever. I kind of like to go back and forth to keep it nice and stable. And there we go. Made our way back down his body. And there you have the top part, the head and the chest and the waist for your little native guy. Isn't he cute? So cute. And the female is the same face and everything. So, alright, so, sorry, I had to go back to work and come back. So, here I am, I'm back again. And now we're going to put the pants on our little guy here. Now we've worked our way back down to the belt. And this is what I consider the belt. Here is this little red hoop. Okay. And you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we still have 11. We're still doing the 11 peyote stitch here, 11 count. Now, what you want to do is you want to make sure you're coming up through kind of like the upper bead, if that, remember when we had our lower bead, our upper bead, lower bead, upper bead. So bring your needle on through an upper bead. And the way we want to do these is we want to do a 6, 5, 6 each, and we're going to do 3 rows. So we're going to have to put 6, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I put my other beads away. I just have my blue out because that's all we're going to need right now is our blue beads. So we're going to pick up a bead, skip one, and go through a bead. Pick up a bead, skip one, go through, just like we were doing the rest of the body. Pick up a bead, skip one, go through, pick up a bead, skip one, and go through. Pick up a bead, skip one, go through, maybe. This one's kind of tricky because you're basically restarting again. So we gotta dig a little deep on this guy here. Maybe, there we go. It might look a little wonky because, like I said, it's like restarting again. And pick up a bead. And see, we're at this point where we have to do our step up again. Because we have those 2 beads there. So we just want to go through the blue one there. Just like that. And now our next row, we're going to need 5 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So pick up a bead. We want to go straight through that blue one there, like so. Oop, poke myself in the finger. Pick up a bead. Oh, I'm bleeding a little bit. I'm going to stick this in here. I gotta go get cleaned up. Don't want blood all over my little doll. 1 second, be right back. Goodness. And that is why they call them sharps. Okay. I'm a little clumsy, a little tired, but I'll be alright. Pick one up, go through that blue bead there, like so. Pick one up, go through the blue bead, like so. Pick another one up, And go through the blue bead again. There we go. We're starting to get our pattern going on here. And now we're going to need 6 beads again. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Pick up a bead. Go through an upper bead. Whoops. Pick up a bead. Go through the upper bead. Keep poking myself. Pick up a bead. Go through an upper bead. Just keep continuing that around until we get his little waist put in. Tangled in my fingers. And one more. Go through that upper bead there. And there we go. Now we have his little waist put on there. It's not a whole lot of beads, it's just a few rows. Now we're going to want to make sure that we have 11 in our circle here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Perfect. So now this part's a little complicated. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to take this round circle, split it in half, and make each circle an odd count 7 stitch peyote. Now we want to make sure that let me actually illustrate for you here. So I hope you can see that there. Say we gotta have our 11 beads here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So this is our 11 beads here. That's these 11 beads, correct? Okay. So now what you want to do is you want to make 2 sections of 7. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to add 1 bead on one side and 2 on the other. And how you connect those is you want to make, so where the 1 bead is, for example, you're going to take 6 beads and use that 1 bead, to make 7. So what you're going to do is you're going to stick your bead in, or your needle in, and you're going to string your one bead, and then you're going to come down, and then you're going to connect all of these because that'll make 7. And then on the other side, there's going to be 5, and then the 2 in the middle will create the 7. So you're going to string your bead, well, it's strung, but you're going to put your bead on there, and then you're going to add 2 beads and create 7. And you have to make sure that this is centered in his torso here. You want to make sure it's centered here, because this is going to be his legs coming out. I hope that makes sense. But I'm going to leave this here so you can continue to see that, and we're going to work on this here. So my thread is it's coming out off to the side here. Let me check. I have to take a look at mine here. This is the most complicated part of this whole entire doll. So I like to go based off of his lips, and that's the red on the face here. And so that there would be this bead. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we could put our 2. So basically what we want to do is we're going to, see my threads coming out right here, and this is going to be where we put the 1, so we want to put the 2 in. And so we need to go over 1 to make sure that it's centered with his body. So basically you want to take your little doll here and go off the center part of him and figure, well, We want a leg going out here, and we want a leg going out there. So we have to make sure that it's somewhat, it's not going to be perfectly centered because we can't, because it's an odd number. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that one of them, at least one of them, is coming out through the center one. But we're going to do the 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which will be this back one here, okay? So what we want to do is we're sticking out the right one. And always make sure you're sticking out the right one. Like so. You want to pick up 2 beads. Like that. Pick up 2 beads. And then you want to go, let's see, we got 1. Hope we can see here. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. This bead right here is where we need to be going through. So you're going to want to take that and go through that right there. Make sure we don't get hooked on that guy here. And that looks crazy and weird right now, but look how we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait. Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we have our 7 with those 2 beads added. And now I'm going to go through all these beads over here and go through these so I can wrap around and come back and add my 1 bead. Now to add our 1 bead, we're going to need 6 out of our circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? So I need to be coming out of this bead here. Whoops. As I drop things. Like so. And then we pick up a bead, and then we're going to want to count because we're coming out of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So count. This is 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we want to be coming into this guy right here. You won't be going into the same one you did for the other part of the leg. You're going to be going in different beads because we're dividing up the bottom of our body into 2 parts. So we're taking that 11 count peyote stitch and we're dividing it into 2 7 count peyotes. I hope that's clear enough. So now what we do is, this is complicated and it looks crazy, but this is an important part. This is his little legs. So hang on, I'm a little tangled together here. You don't want to pull too tight because then those beads are going to get lost down in there. So now we're coming down up out of here and off to the side, and we want to make some legs. So we have to make this into its spiral, and it's going to look chaotic, but give it time. So we're going to want to go into rows of 4s and 3s because we're in a 7 count peyote stitch now. So I'm coming up out of this upper bead. I'm going to skip a bead, go through a bead. Let me count out my... So we put him on there, like so, and then we pick up another bead. We're coming out of this bead, and this is the tricky part because this is where the body is. And see, we have the 2 coming over here and the 1 coming out over here. So we have to go through this center bead, this one that's hovering down here in the middle, like so. So we got to go through that one. Like so. Pick up a bead, and then we skip a bead, and then we go into a bead. And this looks crazy when you first do it, but give it time. And then pick up a bead, skip a bead, go into a bead. Where am I at here? Sorry, I gotta bring it a little closer to my face here. like I missed one somewhere. Oh, I think we're good. Okay. So we're going out of that one. Hang on. I'm having a hard time seeing. It's a little darker right now. It wasn't this dark when I started this earlier. Wait 1 second. Okay, I think it's right here. We'll just keep going with it here. So grab a bead. Well, that's what I'm doing wrong. I need to do my step up. So grab a bead and go into that top bead. Remember? That's what it is, derp. So we grab our bead and go into that bead right next to it, because that's our step up bead. Just like so. Grab a bead, skip a bead, go through a bead. Grab a bead, skip a bead, go through a bead. Gotta kind of tighten your work here and again too, with these first few. Grab a bead, skip a bead, through a bead. And it looks weird the first few rows you do, but you gotta give yourself time because that's just how it's gonna be. We're cutting a tube in half, so grab a bead, skip a bead, through a bead. Whoop. Try that again. We can do this. We can get through the legs. Grab a bead, skip a bead, through a bead. I need to tighten here. I'm losing my grip on stuff here. And it's gonna look wonky, but that is part of it because what we're doing is a little wonky itself. Grab a bead, skip a bead, through a bead. Just keep on working your way down the legs. Keep bumping into my light here. So you can see his leg kind of growing. His leg is growing. And it doesn't matter if it's a little wonky. I mean, it's just that's how it's gonna be. Grab a bead, skip a bead, go through. Grab a bead, skip a bead, go through. Just keep working your way down the leg. Grab, skip, through. Legs coming to life here. Skip a bead, go through. Now if you want, you can make feet when you do this by like taking your last 2 rows and making them, say you could do black or white to match a shirt or whatever if you wanted to add the illusion of little feet. And I don't know, I haven't decided on that or not. And if you want to, we best do it now, because I think we're getting a little close to the last of the leg here. Can't remember how many I put on him, how many rows. Hang on a sec. I'll look. We'll just kind of wing it. I don't think we really need to count. I'm going to keep going a little bit though. I think his legs need to be a little longer. That leg coming through, and that kind of cool. We're getting it. We'll get there. Keep going a little bit longer. I'm just going to go all blue with mine. I don't think he needs shoes. That's up to you what you want to do. I'm just going to do, maybe he has really long pants on and he can't see his shoes, right? I think I did more on that one than this. Do one or two more rows here. We'll give him some nice long legs. We'll make him tall. Like I said, trust me, this is the hardest part of this little guy besides starting the headdress. Once you get this headdress started, it's not that hard. But I think that's about perfect for leg height. I'm going to kind of just look at it real quick, guys. I'm going to do one row, honestly. Oops. Caught up. Kind of like that length right there. I think that is perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to come back up through his legs that I just, or leg that I just did. And kind of wiggle our way through the beads. Now we get to start the other leg. Like I said, we can get through it. I hope this maybe helped a little bit to kind of make you understand that this is what we're building off of. Those two. And each one's going to be a tube coming out of that. Work our thread over towards this side here. Where am I coming out of? There we go. And remember, we had these two beads. They're kind of tucked in now. I like to kind of pull his leg back. is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right there, just like so. So, I kind of like where I'm coming out of here. Is that the right one? Let me double check. I can't see these guys, so this is the tricky part. Nope, I need to go over one. That was the issue. I thought there was 8 there. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. Now, I'm going to go through this one because it looks a little higher than the other one. Maybe not. Sometimes it helps to kind of pull it aside, kind of maneuver it around. I add a bead. Skip a bead, add a bead. Skip a bead, add a bead. Skip a bead, add a bead. It's this first row that's just like, huh? Because it looks weird because it's not a circle, right? You know, it's just like, I'm gonna say what to the huh now? And then, let's see, we're coming out of this one. So skip bead. See, now this is where it gets difficult because it's just, and then we're gonna step up. Yep. So here we're going to step up, just like that. And that's kind of looks like it. Sometimes it helps to move his leg back. Sometimes it helps to pull his leg in. It just kind of depends on the situation. So, now we're on our second row. Ooh, skip a bead, add a bead. Skip that bead, add a bead. I need to tighten a little. And like I said, those first 2 are going to look all weird and wonky and off, but they really aren't. Just give yourself some time, be patient with it. Skip a bead, add a bead. Whoop, drop my needle, and try to pick it up. There we go. Here we go. And you'll see it kind of take shape as you go along. Just remember your skip a bead and add a bead in the upper bead there. Don't forget that. That's what's going to be the key to getting you through these legs. Because these are not an easy task. These are quite the challenge. If you know anything about peyote stitch, you'll kind of see it as you go along. You'll kind of see it come into life and taking shape. And you'll think you're doing it wrong. And I've done it so many times. I'll think I'm doing it wrong, and then how are you doing? No, it's right. No, it was wrong. And, you know, and you just got to be patient with it. It's one of those things that just is awkward. It's just, I'm going to be honest, it's a completely awkward way to stitch. Like, you're stitching and doing things that you wouldn't normally do. But, you know, the cool thing about this is I didn't know that it was possible to split up a peyote stitch like this, and now I do. So you learn something new every day. And what would be really kind of cool is you could do other things. You wouldn't even have to do a little native guy and girl. You could do like a teddy bear or something like that if you wanted. Which that would be adorable. And see, now we're taking shape. See that? His leg is coming together here. We won't make him one-legged. We'll give him 2. And I hope that this maybe helps a little bit. It's just really awkward to stitch a new tube on something that isn't circular, you know, that isn't perfectly round. It kind of throws you off. Your brain is like, stop, please. Remember to tighten them as you go, because it started off weird. It doesn't want to stay tight for me today. Oops. Just keep working your way till they're even. Make sure they're even, unlike my first guy I made, who was obviously missing a row or two. I guess he's got a stubbed foot or something. Skip, add. Skip and add. Just working our way down. See that leg's coming together? Starting to look pretty cute. Okay, here we go. Keep along here. Stay focused. Stay focused, Charlie. There's a few little difficult parts like this on him, but for the most part, it's not like I thought it was going to be. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I actually figured it out, so it can't be that awful. Let's see, what did I do here? I'm just maybe not pulled taut. Yeah, I'm just not pulled taut enough. Oh wait, I think I put him in the wrong spot. Or is he just twisted? No, I put that in the wrong spot. My bad. I gotta take him off of there. Thought he looked like he was awkward. This guy here, he's kind of awkward there. It's so funny. I think I got the one that I bought when I was little for like $5 or something, just hilarious. And I think of all the time that somebody was sitting there to make these little things, and I spent like $5 on it. It's so sad. It's like that whoever made that should have gotten way more money than I gave them. I kind of feel bad about it, honestly. I think we're almost done with him here, almost, or the legs here. I think we're about lined up. Then we can put his little arms on. We need one more row. think we're even. I'm going to double check here. 5. I think we're good. I was going to put that bead on there, but I don't need that bead. Okay, now we're going to bring his arm, we're going to add his arms. So we're going to bring his leg, if I can talk. We're going to bring the thread up through his little legs again. And bring it on up to the body. Like so. I can see, get in there. There we go. Now we're going to want to work our way. Oh, look at that. He's got legs. We're getting there. We're getting him put together. That looks way better than this guy's. His were a little wonky. One was a little off, I do believe. You want to bring your thread on up through, and when you do, you're going to want to be, you see his little piggy tails there? You see the little pigtails? We're gonna want to put his arms on this one right here, on that second one up from the belt, on the white, next to those little piggy tails there. On both sides it'll be like that. So no matter what side you're coming up through, I'm coming up over here, so I'm gonna keep, I'm almost to the spot. Keep coming up here. So right here, my thread's coming out of this bead right here. So you're going to want to go from your belt, this red belt here, and you're going to 1 and 2 up in the white bead behind his pigtail. Just like that. And that's where we're going to put his arms. I got to pause this. I got to get my other beads out because I put my beads away for to do the legs. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to get my other beads. I'll put these away here because we don't need the blue anymore. We're done with blue. And put those away. We need some white, and I think we'll get the headdress done too. It's quick. Some white ones. We only need about 6 of these. I think I poured exactly about 6. And I am going to need some red here in a minute. But for now, that'll work. So we're going to do his little arms. And they're super duper simple. There's not really a whole bunch to them. So his arms, you want to do, let's see, it's 1, 2, 4 whites. So string on 4 white beads and then 3 orange beads. And this is kind of like doing fringe, which we've done on this channel before. So bring them down like that. And then you're going to want to skip. Don't go through these orange beads here. Skip these orange beads here and bring your needle through, back through the 4 white beads. Just like that. Okay. I'm going to string that through. And we're going to want to come back through the bead we came in. So we're going to want to bring it behind that bead, just like that, and pull it through. And there is our first little arm, a tiny itty bitty little beaded arm. And I mean, we can pull it a little tighter and stuff if we want. And then we have to bring our thread back over to the other side See your little pigtail here, and you're going to want to go through the second bead by his little pigtail. So we're going to bring our thread through. I don't know where my needle went. Got lost in those beads somewhere. There we go. Try not to catch our other arm. Bring them on through. There we go. And through that second white bead. Just like that. And then pull it through. And then we string it again. 4 white. Like that. And 3 orange. Whoop. Like so. And then we bring it down through like that. Skip those 3 beads and come back through those 4 white beads. Just like so. And you always want to make sure his little fingers are lined up like a little triangle. I don't know if you can see that. Kind of lined up like a triangle. And that is his little bitty arms. So tiny. Now we want to bring up the thread. I had to double check there. Bring the thread up, back through that bead, obviously. Like, well, maybe like so. There we go. And then now we want to bring our thread. Okay, so we're going to attach the headdress. And in order to attach the headdress, you want to bring your thread up. See the side of his face here? And there's those 1, 2, 3 orange beads, like there. So we're going to want to bring our bead or our thread up. Start working our way up there. I'll tell you where we put it here. If I can remember, I got to double check my little man I made here. I'll bring it up here. I'm going to get close at least. Getting wrapped up in his body here. Let me check here. I'm going to double check. So we're going to start stringing for his headdress. And you want to have your thread coming up. You see his 2 face beads here, these 2 orange ones. In between those 2 is a black bead. So you want to have your white coming out through that, or I'm sorry, your thread coming out through that. And that's basically 2 up from that first row of his hair. Okay, it's kind of on his shoulder there. So the second bead up. Put one on there. And then you want to take your needle and you want to stick it. Sorry about that. You want to take your needle and you want to go through each row or each bead of the hair here. And there's going to be 7 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So basically you're going to want to you know, you count out your hair, basically. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the top. And oh, I'm sorry, we need to be up one more. My bad. So we go up to our 3rd one here. Go up to that 3rd bead on the side. So from the shoulders up, you want to be having your thread coming out of that 3rd bead there. And we want to attach 7 beads, and we're going to just want to go around his hairline. So basically you put your thread through there, thread a bead, and then put your needle through the bead right directly on top of it and pull through without getting tangled, like that. Add another bead, And then you're going to want to go into, try and get that out of the way, the one next to that, right here, like that, like so. And then we want to add another bead and go into the bead right there. That. You just keep doing that. Go all the way around. Go one in the middle of the forehead now, like so. Whoop. Another bead. Just keep going around his hairline, basically. That's where his little headdress is going to attach. And it's going to look a little wonky and weird. It'll even itself out. Don't worry about that. Just keep working your way around his little head. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need one more on there. And 7. There we go. Oh, there we go. It doesn't quite look like a headdress, does it? And now we're going to have to place 4 in the back of the head. That's what's going to attach all that and kind of pull it together and make it look like a little headdress. And so to do that, what we want to do is we want to take where we're coming out of here. Oh wait, I still didn't line up, did I? Or yes, that'll work. That's good enough. And then we need to attach 2 on each side for the back. So yeah, that'll be around, completely around there. So pick up a bead, and now we're not going to go with the hairline anymore, but that one you just put down, you want to go kind of cornered, kind of diagonal from that bead you just put in there. And this doesn't have to be perfect, but we just need something around its head to hold on to everything. And then right next to it, a little ways, kind of just level down, I guess you'd call it. Put another bead. Pick up another bead. And now we need to add 2 more. So I like to kind of move my way down as I go, kind of like it's draping down his back of his head. One there. And then one more right here. As you can see, it kind of looks like a little halo of beads around his head. He's got this little halo of beads going on. It looks awful now. Just give it a minute. It'll look better here in 1 second. So now we're going to need red. So I'm going to get some red beads here. We're going to need white and red for his headdress, or whatever colors you chose. Now, this looks like it should be complicated, but it really is not. So don't worry about that. Basically what you're going to want to do, so you're coming out of that last bead that we just strung. So remember that very first one we put on? We want to be coming out of that bead. So we're going to bring our thread through that very first bead. Now we're going to string, let me double check here, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm sorry, we need to go up one more. We need to go up to that bead. We need to leave 4 on the back empty. And you want those on the back empty. These 4 back here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Act like those aren't there right now. Okay, we're going to work on the front of the headdress first. So, we got our needle coming through. Remember, skip those 4. We got our needle coming over through that first one there. So we want to string 1 white, 1 red, 2 white, and a red. 1 white, 1 red, 2 white, and a red. And just bring that on down, like so. And then string your bead into the joining bead above it. Just like that. Oh, whoops, my bad. I totally told you the wrong thing to do. Ignore that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm kind of tired. I just want to finish them for us. I have to unthread here. There we go. Let me put my needle back on. I totally spaced what I'm doing. This one's like making fringe. Let me load my needle. So basically, skip that red bead there and come through the 2 white, the red, and the white bead is what you want to do. I'm sorry, I totally told you the wrong thing there. But I've only made him once, so. There, geez Louise. Just kind of give it a little squeeze on that last bead and pull it through. Okay, now I like to kind of mark where I'm at so I don't lose my. And then we need another, again, we need a white bead, a red bead, 2 white beads, and another red bead. Maybe, there we go. Bring it down, ignore that red bead, go through the 2 white, the red and the white, like so. And then you're going to want to bring it through to the joining bead. Oh, geez Louise. This bead right here. There we go. Couldn't find it. I was all tangled. Okay, now for our third one, don't go through anything. Just leave it there. We do a white bead. We got 2 on there. Do a white bead, a red bead, 3 white, and a red, like so. Skip that last red bead and come through the other 4. And I kind of like to make it tight, a little tight. And then bring it through the joining bead. It looks a little bit weird right now, but that's okay. It'll take shape. Just give it a minute. Now we need a white bead, a red bead, 3 white, and a red. Bring it down, skip the red, string through the others, like so. Pull it through. And then come through your little friendly neighbor bead up here. There we go. Now, with the next one here, sorry, I had to take a bathroom break. I was like, about ready to explode. So let's see, we got 4 of them on here. Where am I here? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're on our 5th one, and that one is, bring that back over, 1 white, 1 red, 3 whites. Oh, I always go to dig there. I'm a little sleepy. Here we go. And we bring that down. pass through those beads, except for skip that last red one. Pull it through, just like you would fringe. You gotta pull it tight. Make sure it's tight. There we go. Come through our next bead here, like that. Now we need to have one white, one red, two whites, and a red. Do the same on the other, like on the others. Just skip that last bead and string the other 4. Pull it through, like so. And then we're going to want to bring our bead through the next one, or needle through the next bead here, like that. There we go. Trying not to get tangled up in all these little fringes. And this one here, we need a white, a red, and 2 white, and a red. Do the same like we did. Skip the last bead, go through the others, pull it down, like so. Kind of losing my string here. There we go. And then go through the next bead right here. And that's our front little fringies. They won't be fringies for long. We'll connect them all. It looks a little off now, but it'll take shape. Now for our back ones, we're going to need 3 white and a red for this one. So 3 white and a red. Pull it through, skip that last red bead, go through the other 3 white, kind of tighten it a little bit, and then we go through the adjoining bead next to that. And then this one, it gets a little different here because these are our back beads. So this is where we're going to add that long fringe onto it. Did I do him right on that one? I believe I did. I just think my thread's kind of stuck on the wrong side of that. I can get that through for real though. There we go. Nope. There we go. Okay. I was like, say what? Now, what we're going to want to do is I'm going to skip these 2. I know that seems weird, but I'm going to go through them. Just go through those 2 beads there, like that. See that there? I missed this guy over here, so we need to do this one. So we need to add 3 white and a red. And go through. Oops, I have enough thread. I'm about out of thread. Go through those white ones there, like so. Ta-da! Okay, now what we need to do is go through that bead next to that, and then we're going to go through the other bead right next to it. So now that's our little fringy-dingy. So we need to take our needle, try in here, and we need to go up through all of this. So okay. So our thread's coming out of this second little fringy here. See that little second fringy? We need to take our needle through that second fringe all the way to the end. Okay, maybe if I can get through there. There we go. Well, that was a struggle. Okay. I'm getting caught up on him. This is where it kind of gets to be a pain because it's easy to get caught on all these little thingies sticking out. Okay, so now we're coming up out of that. What we need to do is we need to string 2 white beads, like so. And then you want to come through the neighboring red bead fringe on the very end. So you want to come through that neighboring red bead, like so. And that'll connect those 2 together. And then we're going to need 2 more white again. And we're going to do the same. We're going to go to this neighbor here. Go over to that neighboring red fringe. Stick our needle through. And see, that's going to connect those 2. So we're connecting all of these right now. And all of them, it's 2 all the way around. 2 white. Go through that fringe. Bring it through. 2 white. Go through the end red bead there on this neighbor and bring it through. 2 white, string it through that neighbor bead, so 2 more, and do that again in the red bead next to it on the end. See how that's connected all of them to make a little headdress? Now we need to do it on these end ones. So we do that on this guy here too, on the last one. Get that through there, just like so. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down and through. See how we're going through that last little red fringe here? I'm going to come down through those beads. And because we need to do something with these here, down here. Remember, we didn't do nothing with those 2. So, what I'm going to do is go through that. And you can kind of pull tight. It ain't going to hurt nothing. And then what we want to do is we want to put on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white beads, like so. And then what you want to do is you want to take your white beads that you just strung and stick them through that red bead. Stick them back through that red bead on the back, right here. Now, kind of make a little circle thing, like that. And then you want to come back down through into that other second bead. So you got that bead there. So you want to come back down through into that bead there, that last remaining little straggler. And we're going to do the same. We're going to add 5 beads. 5 beads on there. We're going to string it through this one here. If I can get in there. Here we go. Like so. And then we're going to add 2 beads We're going to come up through this red one on that last one. Right there. And now we have that. I'm going to go through these two. We got to come back down here. I'm going to come back through these two. And then I'm going to come down. If I can get in there. I kind of did it backwards. I should have started off to the far end, but that's okay. But it's still coming together just fine. We're going to bring it down. Now to that last white bead. Then what we want to do is we want to come back to these last two here, back here, because we're going to put his little dangles on there. Whoops, I got caught. There we go. That kind of made it look weird there because I was like, what is going on? And so we're going to bring that through these two and this one. That's kind of hard to see, but you want to be coming out of that, those back two bottom beads on the bottom of his head. Like that. There we go. So cute. My goodness. We'll pull it nice and taut. There we go. And now I'm going to add a red, two white, a red. Running out of reds here. I think I should have enough. Two white, a red, two white again, a red again, two white again, a red again, two white again, and a red. So you're going to want, coming out of that bottom, one of those bottom second beads, a red, two white, 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 and red. So 5 two whites all together, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 reds all together. You want to come back up like the fringe, so take that bottom one out of there, ignore him. You're going to want to come through two white, a red, two white, a red, two white, a red, and a white. Okay, so skip that bottom red one. Kind of go through those three there. Pull that tight, like so. And now we're going to take a white, a red, two white, and a red. Oop. Like that. And we're going to pull those down. And then we're going to bring the needle through, because you're coming out of that one to the right, and then you're going to want to come up. Figure it out here. Figure where I'm at. Where am I at here? This part gets kind of tough too. This whole thing is tough, but we're getting through it, right? This one here. I come up through that one right there. I don't know if you can see that. Right there. Come up through that. Make sure it's setting. And that's going to be his little feather dangles in the back. So adorable. Oh my goodness. So cute. And that is it. Now we just have to tie him off. So I'm going to go actually through the body because it's going to be a lot more secure in the body than it will be in the headdress. Just come through. I mean, you'll see that tighten up a little bit as you do it. And weave your way in and out a little bit. Flip that little tail of his. It's in the way. There we go. Just like so. I'm going to make some double knots here just to secure him. Make it nice and tight. Whoop, I lost my knot. There we go. Find my scissors. I don't think they're over here. I'm gonna lost my needle, so I'm gonna put my needle back on here. Here we go. I'm gonna keep weaving him in a little bit. Not too much work to have him fall apart, didn't we? Like I said, I think I spent like a few dollars on the one I bought, and it's like, it's just cruel. After all that work, somebody should get paid way better than that. And we'll go through here. Like that. There we go. And we will snip that off of there. And there he is. There is our little Indian guy. And how adorable is that? Like, seriously, how adorable is that? That is the cutest thing ever. I think he turned out a little better than this guy. He was a little wonky. And his braids didn't match. You can see now how his braids didn't match up. But, isn't that so cute? Now, in the next few videos, I'm going to show you how to do the little lady one. And she's got a little dress and a little hat. She's really cute. And I'll show you how to put a little hook on here and make a pendant. And then we will do a daisy chain necklace and stick them on the daisy chain necklace. So it's going to be a little bit of work, but it's going to be so totally worth it. I hope you guys were able to make him. And I know this was a long, just horribly dragging video, and it just went forever, but you know what, good things take time. So I appreciate you watching. I hope I helped you make your little souvenir doll. Stick around. We're going to make the lady, and we're going to make a necklace. We'll make a daisy chain and make a little hoop and have them on a little necklace. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great evening. If you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and put them down there in the comments, and like and subscribe. Thank you.